Alright, so the last video we turned the big eye into essentially the top of a bird's skull. So we're going to do like reverse engineer that and turn it into an eye. Alright. Well, looking at this and just, assuming anatomy, I see this line and this line eyeball shape, and yeah, you're damn right, it fits snugly in there. I mean, the tear ducts will line up perfectly to that point. So that all folds over, and then these make up the sides as the right here connects with this as it plugs into the outside, so that will end up something like that. Probably contoured a little better in there, but you get my point. But that will be the last fold, and that is the last fold is revealing the underside of the earth, so that's impossible. So that doesn't happen. So it's obviously got to be something else on top of that, right? I don't know, because the stuff is splayed out perfectly. It's all fanned out from the inside out perfectly. So it can go either way. It's an ingenious system, obviously. Look at that. This is why they hide flat Earth from us. Even on a more grand scale, maybe this is a heart and a chest cavity. All right. So macro to micro, and this is like the back of the dragon. But it's a bird, but it's a dragon, but it's a bird, but it's a dragon. It's both. It's both. It's a double changer. Do you think this will line up with this? You bet your bottom dollar it will. Everywhere this works. How is that? This should be alarming you, It's so obvious. All this will fold up and become just half of this, right? So this looks like it'll go right here, but it won't. This will connect to that, and then that whole mass will set on there and start building it up at like a 3D printer with folds, origami, 3D origami, or organic building. It's a whole new concept, but it makes sense, and that's how life was started. Was that system was just compressing the right matter and splaying it out perfectly. And when I say splay, I mean this effect. So it's kind of hard to tell where this dragon starts and ends, but here's the main body of it. And, Rogers either doesn't know this or chooses not to show you. But, there's that shape, the fish. Or is it? Or is it an eye? Is it a fish or is it an eye? It's both. Right? Tell me I'm mistaken. But here's the inside of the dragon's bottom jaw, the top side of the bottom jaw. This is going to fold over on there. And then you go around and just start fitting together the rest of the puzzle. You know, it's going to do the same thing. You know, these two look like they're going to fold together, but they don't line up because of that angle. So this, this is going to go up here and kind of form the side and the half of the top, half of the side, half the top, and this is going to do the same thing. It's going to fold up and over and form half of the side, half the top. And then the whole thing will meet up with this junction of organs, and the whole mass is going to be folded up and fold over, and then the last fold, this is the top, will be right here, and that's the last part. So the underside of this is the top of the skull. Are you following me? This is our whole new reality. I mean, unless somebody has a different explanation for why this just works out, this, since it's the underside of the top of the skull, that's where the brain would connect. And it's perfect. It's anatomically, it's perfect. I guarantee it. Get a doctor over here. That's all brain tissue and skull, and it all connects. But then wait, you get a little closer, and it's actually a splayed out lobster. But since it's made up of all the right parts that are in all the right places precisely, it forms it perfectly. I mean, this thing can go, it can be anything. It can be anything, y'all. You see this? It can be anything. You just got to see the fold points. You know, right down the middle is a fold point, but this isn't all just going to fold over. It's got to take some work first. So you come over here, and all this, like origami, this will go in here. This will fold to here. Then that whole mass will fit on this mass that you made. Then that whole mass will end up plugging in right here. And then, so this thing ends up as a fuller chunk, and then it folds over from here, going this way. And then this whole mass will plug in to the side and line up with the esophagus and spinal column and become a big fucking dragon. Or it's a duck, a bird. It can be a bird. Here's a bird's head. Same story. Find about the middle point, or like a dual middle point, and you just start working your way from out to in. So this stuff would connect to here, this would connect to here. That whole mass would kind of fold in. That whole mass would kind of fold in here. The side would fold up. This would fold on. You know, I could be a little wrong here, but then this folds up and this all folds together. And then that whole mass, is full, ready to fit in here as this meets it halfway. Right? And then you do the same thing on this side. It's all beak and feathers and eye sockets, and you just, dude, here's the brain. So that folds over to right here, that meets up to right there, that folds over onto there, and then that whole mass sets on this and makes a bird. And all this meets up at the right spot. And actually, I see it. This would have to go first because this is the top of the skull. So you'd have to do this side first. So you got to use some spatial perception. I was never good at that. I don't know. I just seen this one day and I ran with it. And I just see it. It's so obvious. And you zoom in and it works on the micro. Well, micro as in, 80-kilometer stretch.